Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2018. I wanted to talk to you today about New Year's resolutions and how you can work really hard to make them last. It's a time of year when everyone's got big aspirations, big plans. You want to change this, stop doing that, start this. But how can you make sure that you're not one of the ones that flounders in mid-January and you actually make these things happen? So I'm going to share with you my 5 top tips for making resolutions last, and also share with you my own personal goals for the year and how I'm going to make sure that they happen. So first of all, the calendar is not going to be your strong motivating factor. So just because it's January the 1st, 2018, it doesn't mean this is the day, this is the moment that you're going to get something done. So it isn't enough that it's the new year. We need to make sure that you've got strategies in place to make things last. And that brings me to my first point, really. It's all about having a really, really strong motivating factor. That's my first tip. So I'll give you an example of that. I worked with a client called Claire Ball. I started working with her 5 or 6 years ago, back when I was doing personal training. And she had advertised for a personal trainer to help her run the London Marathon. And I responded to that ad and we met up, and 4.5 months later she crossed the finish line of that marathon with me, in what was a really beautiful story and a beautiful experience. The reason that she was able to do that, and I know that she won't mind me saying that she really did absolutely nothing before she got this marathon place. She hadn't run at all. She was very inactive. She got in the car, she sat at her desk, she came home. So she really didn't do very much at all. So it was a massive thing for her to be able to run a marathon 4 and a bit months later. And the reason that she was able to do this is she had a strong motivating factor. And that factor was that her dad was profoundly ill with MS. So she'd applied for a marathon place with the Multiple Sclerosis Society and got one. And then, of course, ensued much panic and, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But it was that strong motivating factor that got her across that finish line in what was a tough training camp. We had good days, we had bad days, and a very, very tough last 6 miles for the marathon. And her training, by the way, wasn't linear, and any sort of transformation that you're looking for won't be linear. You'll have ups and you'll have downs, but as long as you're building up and pushing forward and making progress every time, it's good. And it was that thought of her father, who's never going to be able to walk, let alone run a marathon. He has a machine to turn him, a machine to lift him, a machine to move him. It was that thought of him and that desire to help him, to do something proactive, and to raise money for a very good cause that got her across that finish line. So that's the first thing. You have a really strong motivating factor, and that's going to mean that you will be successful. You'll have a good chance of success. And that brings me to my next point, really, which is that 2 things need to be in place in order for you to be successful. You either need to want it enough, or you've had enough. So it depends what it is, whether you're running towards something, better fitness, greater longevity, ability to play with your kids, or away from something. I drink too much, I eat too much, I have emotional affective eating. So whether you're moving to or from something, you just need to have absolutely, without any ambivalence at all, have had enough or want the new thing enough. Now, if there is a degree of ambivalence, don't despair. Just perhaps change your goal. So let me give you a personal example of me and alcohol. I gave up alcohol 6 years ago, but it was my 3rd attempt at giving up that was successful. The first 2, there was ambivalence. Now, it might only have been a small bit, but it's a bit like rot. It's going to expand and expand and expand, and it's going to prevent you from being successful. But if that's the case for you, then maybe shrink the goal. Maybe if you have a bit of ambivalence around giving up sugar or alcohol, whether it's just for January or for longer, cut that goal down into manageable chunks. So maybe that goal becomes, I don't drink in the week, or I don't eat sugar in the week, and I cut down at weekends, and you gradually chip away at it. So ultimately you're able to give it up. If it's about starting running, don't enter a marathon. Start with just running down the road, and then a little further, then you do 2 laps and you build on that. Or maybe your commitment is just park run once a week, walk run, doesn't matter, I do not miss it. Consistency is absolutely key. It's one of the reasons I've been able to maintain really good health for so long. I have non-negotiables in place that mean that I stay steady. So a little bit of up when I've got an event, very little down, just nice and steady. And that consistency is key, and I achieve that by putting things in my diary that are around health and fitness and well-being that are non-negotiable. So a gym session for me in the boxing gym, which I do twice a week, and I've been doing that for at least 10 years now, except when I'm on holiday. That happens come what may. I treat that like a client appointment in my diary, so I do not miss those 2 sessions. If I'm away, I'll maybe do 3 a week before, 3 a week I come back. If I absolutely have to move it, then I'll flex it to a different day, but 2 sessions a week get done. I then do a third high intensity session, and I build loads of recovery into my week as well. So foam rolling, massage, meditation, breath work, making sure I've got disconnect breaks where I'm getting off tech and just sitting quietly. That's all really important as well. And having that fitness, by the way, that general sense of well-being that you protect fiercely, means that you're in a better position to hit your other goals, because you're really looking after yourself. The brain's working well, the body's working well, and all that will come together to allow you to be successful in most things you do. Another tip, so set realistic goals. There's the whole concept of SMART goals: simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-based. But set realistic goals. You can have one big goal ultimately, but then break it down into smaller ones and make them realistic. If you've attempted to do something before, by the way, and you failed, break down what it was that caused that failure. So maybe, I'll give you an example from me. Sugar is my only vice. I've had really real success in the summer and in the autumn giving up sugar, but then life got stressful and I bounced back onto the sugar again as a means of medicating against that stress. So if that's you, think about the stressful events you've got coming up. So try and see the pockets of opportunity to sabotage yourself and mitigate against those. But setting realistic goals is absolutely vital. That would be tip number 2. Tip number 3, small and sustainable. So in all the years that I've been working with people on health-related transformations, small and sustainable is how it's done. Health is a long game, so be patient and integrate something into your lifestyle. When that's in, it's not, oh, I'm doing this now, or I've got to go and do that. It's just, yeah, that's what I do. Once that's bedded in, it might be a week, a month, 3 months, doesn't matter, because health's a long game, remember. Then you build in something else, so that it's the aggregation of marginal gains that gets you to that ultimate goal. That one is super important. Don't be in a massive hurry. Things take time to change, and it varies from person to person. Another tip: get family and friends on side. So enlist the support of your family. It's going to be really important whether you're stopping or starting something, that other people know what you're doing, and most importantly, why you're doing it. So get them on board. Don't get them to do it with you, but get them on board so that you've got that bandwidth and that headspace and that support and encouragement, perhaps, although you won't always get that, and it may surprise you, from your loved ones. And that brings me to number 4, which is don't necessarily ally your goals to other people. And this is really important. If you tie in your goal, whether it's running or weight loss or whatever it is, with someone else, you're codependent. You're at the mercy of that other person. If they fall off the wagon, do you know what, I think I will too. It will weaken your resolve somewhat. And also, friends are not always interested in helping you. So your success might make someone else feel bad. So privately, they quite like to see you fall off the wagon. They quite like to see things go wrong for you. So be wary of that. I would enlist the support of friends and family, but don't worry too much about getting other people on, or tying your goals in with other people. That's pretty much it. The fundamental thing is with resolutions is you've got to want it enough or have had enough. And those things need to be tied to a need. What is the need that you have? And just sort of think about that. Are these goals that you have noble goals? Are you interested in extending your longevity or your health span, or are you interested in looking good? It doesn't really matter too much which one it is, but be clear on that. Be clear on why you want something. But above all, be laser focused. Completely laser focused on that objective. Start small, be patient. So small that you might even think, do you know what, is that it? I could do more than that. Doesn't matter. If you walk away from something, or from the end of the day, thinking that was easy, I could do more, perfect. Because that way it's not a big thing, it's not too dramatic to be unsettling and unstabling for you, and you're most likely to be successful. If you have any questions at all or feedback for me, I'd love to hear from you. Our motto is to help first, so please do come to us. My email is leanne@bodyshotperformance.com. You can also jump on our website, bodyshotperformance.com, complete the Health IQ quiz, and we will give you a 30-minute discovery session. Happy New Year. All the best to you.